Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Ohio Business Spotlight. I'm Tony, your co host, along with Greg Fay. And Greg, why don't you tell us who we have today?
Super excited. Super excited. We were saying before we come on that I don't know that this podcast has ever had or is ever going to have as much energy as my man, DJ Dorsey or Terrance Dorsey, aka DJ Dorsey, the
The
party
party instigator.
instigator.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
So
That's the
no,
fake.
I got
That's the
the
first fake air horns. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got to know Terrance actually through Southbrook Church, and he was just around doing a lot of stuff, everything, everything related to the youth ministry, and he
Yep.
brought an energy and an attitude and a vibe that it just resonated with everybody, and him and I struck up a friendship. And man, we went deep on some talks. We went deep on some talks. It's went far beyond just being a DJ. So anyway, I don't want to be remiss in delaying your introduction, Mr. Terrance Dorsey.
Back to the fake
Woo.
air horns. I don't have no button to press. Thank y'all for having me on. I'm super stoked to be here. I was like, oh yeah, let's get it going.
So Terrence, I like to come right out of the gate swinging. How did
Hmm.
you get into something th- that you is a passion that you turned into a business? I feel like there's a lot of people listening who are like, "Man, I'd love to take my passion and figure out a way to make it more than just a passion, to make it payable as well." You're an incredible DJ. You set the mood for parties, party instigator extraordinaire. Terrence, how did you decide? When did you know you're like, I could actually make a little bit of money on this deal?
You know what? It was really by accident. Now, just to kind of give you, I'm gonna try to give you the elevator pitch. We're going up like 12 floors though, but it's still gonna be an elevator pitch.
Love it.
So I initially was a musician, still am, still consider myself a musician. I come from a background of playing multiple instruments from the piano to the trumpet to the clarinet to the drums, and then I became a DJ. Now I was managing actually a Christian hip hop group, and
Mm.
we used to have concerts. So what happened was we did an album release party, sold it out to where the fire department showed up and said, y'all can't have no more people in this venue. So I was like, hmm. So then what that led to was I ended up renting out a club downtown Dayton and would throw like these Christian parties. But I could never find a DJ that was able to do what I wanted the DJ to do. So I was like, I'll DJ it. So I knew what music that I wanted, but I wasn't a DJ. So long story short, I ended up calling a skate roller catering to rent it out for Martin Luther King Day. This was like 2009. And it was like, was you the manager for that one group? We was looking for a DJ. So they booked me. I was trying to call them to get one date for Martin Luther King for like a skate party. They was like, well, we need a DJ for every Sunday. So that's where it kicked off me becoming a DJ. Saved up the money that I was getting, bought some DJ equipment, and believe it or not, I learned how to do it on YouTube. So, just watching different, my favorite DJ of all times is Jazzy Jeff. I'm sure everybody knows who that is. Uh,
Yes.
um, so I would watch him try to mimic some of the things he did. Next thing you know, I started throwing my name out there like, hey, I'm a DJ. And then it was like people would book me for this or that. But actually, I was going on tour. I would tour a lot with different artists. Some of the bigger names that you probably heard of, like the Lecrae's and that the whole camp. And then I was just like, I don't like really traveling. I like being at home. Two kids, a wife. So next thing you know, I was like, let me start advertising weddings and parties. Next thing you know, I was like, I'm getting paid more for this than I am being out on the road. And
Mm.
I'm at home. And then it just turned into, my name just started spreading. People started booking me more. And here we are.
Man, I did not know the beginnings. Out of
Yeah,
all the times we've sat and talked, I did not know the beginnings. Now I know. So
that's what happened.
one of the things that you and I have always talked about is the excellence, the level of excellence, the quality in your work, and you've never backed down from it, nor have you. And I think this relates to any business owner because a lot of times as business owners, we set the value of
Mm-hmm.
what we think our time is or our expertise or experience or skills are. We set that, and we can easily talk ourselves out of, man, I can't, there's no way I can ask for that much right there for what I do. You've never had that problem. And
I
at least
did.
I don't remember if you did, because it always seemed that you were really confident in the product or service that you brought to the table.
Mm-hmm.
How could you speak to our audience that is either entrepreneurs or people that want to bust out from the side hustle and get into business?
Mm-hmm.
What from your experience, what could you share with them that gave you that confidence that you don't bat an eyelash at what you charge because you know what you bring?
I love that question, Greg. Here's the truth. I did battle people questioning my prices in the beginning. And what I learned was my clientele is my clientele, but I have to go for the right clientele. I'll never forget a quote that I seen, which was a bottle of water. Let's just say, this bottle of water at Kroger is $1.50 at Kroger. But if I go to the Dayton Dragons field, it might be $4.
Mm.
But if I go to a Cavaliers game, it might be $6. Same bottle of water, different price based on where you go. So what I found was I had to find the right clientele for me. And give you another short elevator pitch. Um, Southbrook, I credit a lot of where my upper business came from. It introduced me to a different clientele. And once I started meeting more corporate type of people that wanted to book me, it was people that started respecting my prices and what I do. There was certain clientele that respected what I do. There was certain clientele that didn't respect what I do. So, and then I would start hearing, you're not charging enough. And I'm like, oh, I used to kind of get beat up for charging, So that's such a loaded question that you said, but it's really just about finding the right clientele and the ones who respect what you do. I mean, you can't go to Bill's Donut and expect to get a sugarless donut.
Right.
That's not their clientele.
Mhm.
But there might be somebody that sells zero sugar donuts. That's not Bill's clientele. You know what I mean? So the clientele that I have, once I got that one good client, and they started telling everybody about me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So, but then there's still some people that say, hey, we want your services, but we can't afford you. I don't want to sound mean, but you might not be my client.
Yeah.
Because, Cheesecake Factory sells a burger, Burger King sells a burger. One of them is a little bit cheaper. You might just have to pick the one that's your budget,
That's why
if that makes
Smash
sense.
Burger. That's why Smash Burger exists, where they can charge $12 for a burger, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or Five Guys.
Yeah.
I love that. I love knowing your client and kind of leaning into that. One of the things that I have really appreciated about you as I've watched you work over the years is that you're unapologetically proud of the work that you do to create atmosphere and intentionality. And of course, you bootstrapped it initially, but now you've kind of, as we joked, but one of your taglines is "Party Instigator." And
Yes.
one of the unique things about your work is that it's in the kind of business that other people think they could do. A lot of people think they can be DJs,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't get the same results. And so, how do you differentiate your brand in a crowded market full of hobbyists?
Y'all prepare some good questions. Whew. Okay. So the catch line, I got a story for everything because
Love it.
everything that I do actually has a reason. So, as you know, my last name is Dorsey. But my DJ name, as you can see in the background, my DJ name is spelled without the Y, Dors capital E, which stands for Doing Our Redeemer Service Excellent, capital
Mm,
E.
it's
That's what it
amazing.
stands for.
Love it.
Doing Our Redeemer
Let's
Service.
go.
I'm
That's
learning all
excellent.
Excellent.
kinds of stuff today.
So Like I said, I started off, I was born almost into the church. Now everything that I do is not Christian events. Let me throw that out there. But that is the core of who I am. Party instigator. Where that comes from, Jesus' first miracle was at a party. If he didn't serve up some wine, the party would have stopped. So
Mm,
I call Jesus the original party instigator. If he didn't do that miracle, the party would have stopped.
that's
He's
awesome.
a party instigator. So that's what I branded myself off of was unless the music is going, the party ain't gonna happen. But I feel like Jesus was the original party instigator. So I'm saying that story. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
How you differentiate your
Oh,
brand in the hobbyist world that you live in?
because number one, I want to bring something to a party that that includes my personality. I'm such a extrovert guy. I like to have fun. I want to instigate the fun. So, and then too, as in my name, the last letter E, excellent. I I'm not just a DJ, I'm an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
So I want to make people feel good when they book me from the time that they book me to the time I pack up my last wire and I walk out the door. They say that guy was nice, literally and figuratively. He was nice to me as a customer, and he was nice on them wheels of steel, as they call it. Like he was nice with the music. So I just want people to have a great engagement with me, and I treat everybody as a top tier customer. The music is big, but the customer service is big. I watch people like or companies like Chick-fil-A. They serve great chicken sandwiches, but the experience is it's just my pleasure. I mean, they're just such great people when you order. I don't feel like I have to go through a whole lot of hoopla versus when I go to some other businesses. It's like, man, y'all got good food, but your customer service sucks. I don't want to come back. I want people to say his customer service was great and the service was great. The DJing, the music, the event was great. So that's how I feel like I differentiate myself. I don't want to just be a great DJ. I want to be a great person that serves
Hmm.
great customer service. So when you have an experience with me, you have a excellent experience.
So good.
Well, my observation has been, and my observation has been both seeing you work, getting to know the man behind DJ Dorsey, getting to know Terrance,
Hmm.
and seeing you interact on social media. And I'm going to make this observation, but I want you to speak more to it because there has to be something more.
Hmm.
I would say that you are one of the most prepared DJs that I've ever seen.
Thank you.
It's like a duck. It's like a duck on a pond. You don't see those legs just kicking like crazy and all of that activity going on. But people that hire you probably don't see half or more of what you do to be prepared. What does preparedness mean to you? And gosh, you just always seem to be, you're like a walking frequently asked question because you share a lot of the things that the questions that you field at
Hmm.
the events that you DJ, and you seem to seamlessly be prepared to answer those questions in a way that, sometimes I know you make light of it on social media, but
Hmm.
I have to believe that you do it in a way that you give them maybe the answer they weren't expecting, but it was the answer that made sense. It was the answer that fit the event. So your level of preparedness is impressive. Speak a little bit to that for me.
Man, I appreciate that, Greg. I really do. I consider that to be, I chalk that up to be two reasons. One, I'm a very curious person. And at the same time, I'm a very, in what I do, I feel like I'm a very, I've experienced a lot, which helps me be an experienced person. So when I say I'm a curious person, I like to ask a lot of questions. So what you see on social media is sometimes I might ask a question. Some people might take it offensive. Me, I like to understand the psychology behind things. I might ask you and Tony the same question, but y'all might answer it differently because y'all see it from two different perspectives. So based on Tony's perspective, I might prepare my stuff one way. Based on your perspective, I might prepare it another way. But because you and Tony aren't alone in your perspectives, I engage different experiences that allow me to pull on Tony's perspective. But it also, I might experience something that allows me to pull on Greg's perspective. So because I'm very curious, I always keep different perspectives in mind. Now, I've experienced all type of events where, you know, things change in the drop of a dime. You might have a timeline that says at 7 o'clock we want to do this, 7:15 we want to do this, but something happens and it changes the script. So it's just I have to be prepared to move whatever way the thing flows, and it's just different experiences. I'm, some now in the beginning, obviously, I didn't understand everything that was happening, but because
Oh,
I've
when did
experienced,
you start, Terrence?
I started in 2000. Started DJing
Yeah.
2009.
Okay.
2009. So from 2009 up until now, there's so many different experiences that I've experienced. I mean, just this past 2 weeks ago, I was in a venue where I've never had an experience that I had for the first time. Paramedic showed up, older guy had to be carried off to the paramedics 2 songs after the dance floor opened. I've never experienced that before, but I experienced it this time.
Wow.
So that's another experience under my belt that I'm like, okay, I know how to handle this maybe the next time it happens. Hopefully it doesn't, but if it does, I'm prepared.
I think that's so important, right? And for any business leader who's listening, taking experiences that transcend the moment and can be part of the movement is such a huge part of the learning curve. I uh, I knew that you had been in business for a long time, 2009,
Mhm.
almost 20 years, right? You're getting close to that 20-year
Almost.
mark,
Almost.
15 years for sure. You have been in a business model that requires you to be present. It requires it's an event based kind of work.
Hmm.
When you think about what it takes as an entrepreneur to continue to persevere through times where the world shifts your ability to do the work that God has called you to do, right? So
Hmm.
whether that's 2020 or whether that's the event space we see. I'm in the wedding business a little bit as well, through mostly through church stuff, but I
Hmm.
I see the wedding business changing and molding, right? People are moving out of churches, they're moving away from DJs. They're putting together their own Spotify list with rented speakers. Um, how do you, as a business owner, know when it's time to pivot and how to
Oh,
shift and stay focused in the calling that you have?
because I'm such a curious person, I love these curious questions. Another question out the baseball field. So recently, well, I should say a couple of years ago, I went to Vegas and I went to Vegas to study. Went to a club and I'm just in this club looking around. I'm looking at all the people dancing. I'm looking at the people at the bar. Of course, I'm looking at the DJ. I'm watching everything. And what I gained from that is there is something about that experience that you can't do as a just a quote unquote regular person to mimic that experience. So, one thing that you mentioned, which I thought was perfect, is we're living in a time where everybody is DIY. They're renting their speakers. They're putting together their own playlist. Blah 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 blah. They're doing that. That's happening. I had to pivot because I want to bring you an experience that you can't do on your own, and it's actually
Mm,
almost cheaper to still book me than it is to do it on your own. Because now I'm taking that worry off your brain. Now there's still going to be some people that's going to DIY it because they're like, I still can't afford it. But I, for instance, I used to, like when I bring my lighting, party lighting, room up lighting, I used to charge for that. I no longer charge for that. I have to separate myself from trying to upcharge and things of that sort. I know it's just a part it's a part of the package. I feel like lighting is just as important as sound is.
wow.
Hmm.
So therefore, when somebody books me, it's like it's almost like going to a resort. It's all inclusive. There is no extra charge no more because I'm aware of the Spotify playlist. I'm aware of you're able to go and rent some speakers. I'm aware of that. So now what you get with me, and then just from seeing in Vegas, this lighting, if they was to turn off these lights and still have the music going, it would be boring. It
Hmm.
would be boring. But now that I'm like, you know what? Even if people wasn't doing a Spotify playlist, I just feel like let me still include these lights because now when you get with me, you don't have to guess. Your price is this. It's just set. There is not going to be some big markups. If you want this, if you want that, it just comes standard. Because I'm the party instigator. And the party needs to be a party. So therefore, according to the brand, it's just all inclusive. You going to Mexico and you getting a resort that's all inclusive. Only
So
thing I
good.
don't include is the alcohol because I'm not a bartender. I'm not a bartender. So
So good.
Well,
if I
I
could
tell
figure
you,
that part out, if I could figure
yeah.
that part out, I will.
I sit and I think about what you do, and it sounds like if I could guide someone's thoughts right now that's sitting and listening to this right here, man, I want them to hear you are always learning. You are always trying to, if you need to reinvent, you're very fluid. But learning, boy, I tell you what, I wasn't prepared to hear that right there from you, but it's the
Hmm.
thing that least surprises me in how hard you try to work to learn. I've got one quick question, then Tony's going to land the plane here.
Sure.
Uh, your preparedness has positioned you and given you the gift of being able to answer questions from guests at the wedding
Hmm.
because they're not your end user, they're not your client. So,
Hmm.
kind of humor us a little bit with some of the questions slash requests slash comments that you get at a wedding that might throw off a DJ that doesn't pay attention, learn, is curious, and is prepared. What are some of those questions? Or give me a question. I don't probably don't have time for a series of them, but give me a question that you think sometimes would trip up a normal DJ, yet you've heard it so much and you did so much digging to make sure to answer it right. Give me that.
No, no, that is such a great question, but it is going to land to something that I'm not sure. Many people might have heard this, and many people might know this, many might not. Music request.
Hmm.
They
Okay.
can be the absolute worst, or they can be the absolute best. Most DJs don't like requests. I'm kind of in between. I joke around and tell people I don't like requests, but honestly, a request lets me know who's here. So at a wedding, a bride or couple might say, "Hey, we want 2000s R&B, hip hop, pop music, the top 40 from the 2000s." Okay, I'm gonna curate the party for that. Here comes that one person that comes up and says, "Hey, can you play Come Together by the Beatles? Great song. Doesn't fit this vibe right now.
That's not an
Doesn't
escape
fit."
party, is it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a great song. It's a great song. Just doesn't fit the vibe for what's happening right now. And I got everybody on the dance floor, they're dancing, and then you just hear "Come Together right now." And it's like, you should have asked me for that during dinner.
Yeah.
They're dancing right now. I
Yeah.
know you want to hear it, but as somebody who is actually got the floor right where I want them, great song, wrong time.
Hmm.
The worst part about me though is I become such a liar. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's what I'll say to him. Yeah, yeah, great song. In
And
my
that
mind, I'm
couple's
thinking,
driving home going, honey, he didn't play that song we asked.
in my mind, soon as I said great song, in my mind, I was like, I'm not
Nope.
playing that.
I'm not playing
I'm not playing that
that.
because now I have to think in my head, I could please you and make you happy. and destroy the 50 people and make them upset.
Yeah.
I'll sacrifice you.
Yeah.
That's good. Terrance, this has been a master class in customer service and education. One of the things that we love to do is make sure that we can give our audience the opportunity to connect with you. What's the best way to learn all things DJ Dorsey?
But I am on all social media platforms, and my handle is the same everywhere at DJ Dorsey. DJ DORSE. You'll find me everywhere, and I manage all my accounts. I see everything. I respond to everything, unless it goes to this spam box and I just didn't see it, because sometimes that happens. People are like, hey, I messaged you, and I'm like, you did? Oh, and then I look, and 3 weeks ago it was in the spam box. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. But other than that, you can always find me there.
Make sure you follow him. He puts out playlists pretty often. He just did a R&B can't miss 4th of July playlist that you got to check out. It was it looked like it was jamming. It was R&B and funk. It was a power mix. He does that through mixcloud.com, so you can connect with that on his Facebook. He would love that. That's a way to honor his work and support his art form. Okay, last question we always love to do, Terrance, is to ask people to lift up other businesses in our community, because we are abundance minded. So what are 3 organizations, businesses in the southern part of the Miami Valley that Greg and I need to reach out to have on this show?
Getting ready to write them down right now.
I'm gonna tell y'all 2 of them off top that you're like, oh, we know these businesses.
Let's go.
Bill's Donuts.
Okay.
Good idea.
Right.
Bill's Donuts.
Nobody said that one yet, surprisingly.
First time, yeah.
Really?
No, let's go. I know the new owner too. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm not a blueberry fan, but my favorite thing of Bill's Donuts is their blueberry cake donut. Number 1.
Okay, that's one. What's number 2?
I got a sticker in my car that says Flying Ace Car Wash.
Oh, Flying Ace. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, Flying Ace. I mean, every time I drive into that place, everybody's waving. They're nice. How was the car wash? Love them.
That's good.
I'm subscribed to their biggest plan that they got, because they do such a great job.
Did you have a third?
Of course, I got a third. It's this one insurance company called Fay Insurance. And I'm gonna tell you why this is a great. I'm gonna tell you why this is a great company. I personally don't have Greg Fay's insurance, but Greg Fay gave me a tip. I don't know if I told you this. Last time we went to lunch, or it was more like a brunch, you gave me a tip that literally slashed my insurance by 50%. I'm not even part of his insurance company, but he gave me tips on how to save money.
You should come on over with the rest of us.
Come on, the water's fine.
The water's fine. I even have liability insurance for my business, professional liability insurance.
Gotcha.
That way, if a speaker fell on someone, you're covered.
Boom.
This is kind of a blast right here, Terrance.
It's good.
This is a blast, man.
It's good. So good. Hey, everyone, thank you guys so much for being a part of the Ohio Business Spotlight. Terrance, thank you for being such an incredible leader and abundant-minded giver to our community. As always, if there's anything we can do for you, Greg and I are embarrassingly easy to find. And remember, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube so you don't miss any future episodes. As always, we're thankful for you and what it means to give back to a community, because as the businesses go, the community goes.